Welcome guys. Now you have learned about variables and data types in Python. We created variables and store data of different types. Now we know that Python is a dynamic programming language. So when we create a variable, we do not mention the data type. We create a variable and assign some value to it. Now Python interpreter is smart enough that based on the value you have supplied, it will identify the data type, and according to that it will allocate memory to it. This is where type method comes in handy. Type method is a built-in method that take a value as an input and gives us data type of that value. Type method is known as built-in method because we have not downloaded or installed it. It's already present inside Python. That's why we call type method as built-in method. Now let's see how we can make use of type method in our program. So we can write type method and pass a value to it. Now what is happening is type method will take a value as an input and it will give data type of this value. Now if we run the program, you will see we are not getting any output. This is because type method is returning us the data type of the value 10, but we are not storing it, neither printing it. Let me first store it. Now if we run, see, still output is not displayed because we are just storing it. Now let's print the data type. If we run the program, you will see it is displaying the data type of value 10 is integer type. Now what is happening is type method will take a value as an input. Here we have passed 10, then it will return us the data type. That data type we are storing in the variable dt. Then we are displaying the value that variable dt is storing. It is actually data type of the variable 10. That's why we are getting integer. Let us display the data type of some more values. Now let's find data type of 0. If we run the program, you will see 0 is actually an integer type. Now let's find data type of the value 1.0. Now some of you might be thinking that 1.0 is nothing but 1, so it will return integer type. If we run the program, you will see it's actually float type. This is because 1.0 contains a decimal point and we use float data type to store numbers with decimal points. So it is actually 1.0 is actually float type. Now let's print data type of the value true. If we run the program, you will see true is actually Boolean type. Now you can also pass false. If we run the program, it is false is also a Boolean type. A Boolean data type can only store two types of values. It can either store true or it can store false. Now let's display data type of hello, how are you? Now if we run the program, you will see it is actually string type. String is nothing but a sequence of characters that are enclosed inside the quotes. So it is actually string data type. Now instead of using double quotes, you can also use single quotes. Now if we run the program, it is still string type. So you can use double quotes as well as single quotes to declare your string data type. If you notice in the output, it is displaying class int, class float, class bool and so on. So the word class is present. Let us understand why class is present here. This is because when we want to create our own data type, we use the concept of classes. So we use class to create a data type. Now we will learn more about classes in our future sessions. For now, you can just focus on this part where we can find the data type of a value. If you notice here, what we are doing is we are using type method to get the data type of a value. Then we are storing that value in a variable and then we are displaying that value. Now we can simplify this process further by, first let me comment it out. Now we can simplify this by writing directly printing the value that type method is giving to us. So now what is happening is type method will give the data type of a value that we are directly displaying with the help of print method. We are not storing it anywhere. Now if we run the program, you will see the type of value 10 is integer. So 10 is integer type. Now let's display the value of some more data types like print type of 0.0. If we execute the program, 0.0 is a float type because it contains a decimal point. Now if I display the data type of, simply I have written double quotes and I have not passed any characters to it. If we run the program, you will see this is actually string type. This is actually an empty string. We have not passed any value, that's why it is an empty string. It does not contain any values. Let's find out the data type of print function. Here what is happening is we are passing print as an argument to the type method. It will return the data type of print function. Then we will display the data type using print function. Now if we execute our program, you will see it is displaying print is actually built-in function or method. The data type of print is built-in function or method. Print is actually a built-in function. Now there is a slight difference between function and method. Function is something that will take some input and give us output, like print. It will take input and give us output. Now method is also a function, but it is present inside of a class. Next, let's find the data type of input function. Input is a built-in function in Python. We use input function to read the data from user. So whenever user presses any key on his keyboard, we can use input function to read all those values. We will learn more about input function in future. Now if I execute the program, you can see the data type of input is built-in function or method. Input is actually a built-in function. Let's do something very interesting. Let's find out the data type of type itself. If we run the program, now before running, I want you to find out what do you think? What will be the output of this? Take your time and think. Now let me execute this program. You will see the data type of type is actually type itself. This is because type is a very special type of function. This is actually a constructor. Constructor is present inside of a class. We will learn about classes in our future session. Let's take another scenario where this type method can come really very handy. What I will do is I will create some variables and assign some values to them. Suppose A is 10, B is 3.14. This is the approx value of pi. Suppose C is true and D is any string value. Now what I will do is I will reassign A with some string. Let's display the data type that variable A is storing. Let's find the data type that variable A is storing. What do you think? What will be the output when I execute this program? You can pause the video, take your time, and you can think what will be the output. Now if I execute the program, you will see it is actually displaying string type. What is happening is initially A was 10, which is actually integer type. Now A is storing integer type, but here what I am doing is I am reassigning A with a string type. Now A is storing a string value, so when I display the data type of A, it is displaying string. So just by looking at the variable, you can't tell what value it will be storing or what data type will that variable will be storing. This is because Python is a dynamic programming language, and when we create a variable, we do not mention any data type. We create a variable and we assign some value to it. Now Python interpreter, based on the value, it will identify the data type, and according to that it will allocate the memory. This is where type method can come really very handy. We can identify the data type of a variable at runtime of our program. So when our program is running, we can identify data type of variables. Let me first comment it out. Now I will display the data type of some other variables. Let me display the data type of variable B, C, and D. If we run the program, you will see A is integer type, B is storing float data type value, C is storing boolean type value, and D is storing a string type value. So this way type method can come really very handy, because we can identify the data type that a variable is storing.